Hey everyone, Derpy here, back with another Battle Pirates video. This is my Zealot upgrades video. How good are they and which one are the best? So let's first talk about the individual upgrade kits needed, the time needed, then I'll talk about each individual upgrade level, break them down. I'll finish with a slide what this means for you, so if you want to skip to the very end and see my conclusions and results, you can do that. Although I of course recommend watching this to actually understand what you're looking at. But if you want to know how this will impact the damage you take in game, which is what people care about, I have this in here too. So kits needed are the same as every other PvE hole, which are the raid and chore holes that we have in the game. For the normal zealots, you need what's on screen. For the flagship zealot, you need what's on screen. You do need different ones for each one of these. Keep in mind when you're redeeming kits for this raid, I expect High Seas Heresy to come back between this raid and next raid, which will have upgrade kits as well as upgrade tokens for the normal zealots. Here's the time needed for the regular zealots. The flagship zealot is about 1.25 times the normal zealot upgrade in terms of time. And the upgrade tokens are available in the raid, various other TLCs to help speed up your upgrades, because these times are fairly long, but you do have pretty much a whole month to do this if your zealot fleet is already built, which is great. And again, upgrade tokens from the raid, from TLCs, maybe from special events, so you should be able to get a decent amount of progress on your ships. Here's the breakdown of U1. U1, the only thing it does is it adds projectile speed. This is not very great, to be honest, because you already have plus 140% projectile speed on your ships with the high volatility cartridges, as well as the full focus choke and the twin fang feeder specials on your hull. So this basically does nothing. I would expect to see no damage difference between a U0 fleet and a U1 fleet. This is helpful if you're shooting against enemies that are moving quickly, or if you are using countermeasures, you might be able to be a little bit more effective against the Atlas carrier missiles and the Sentinel missiles. U2 is a completely different story. It adds evade and splash. Evade is very good and will reduce your damage considerably. Splash is not so good. Evade will bring you from 56% evade using Guidance Scrambler 3 and the Sacred Artifact engine at an unupgraded or a U1 fleet to plus 66% evade at a U2 fleet. This will mean that you take 34% damage of the incoming damage as opposed to 44% of the damage. This is a little bit confusing, and by the way, thanks to Brian for helping explain this to me. But I will talk about what this means in terms of repair times on the last slide, so again, stay around for that one. The splash damage really doesn't do a whole lot, as will bring you from plus 50% splash to plus 60% splash on your hull, because you already have some from the full focus choke. Now, this is a very small difference and might mean your splash is a little bit better against some of the different situations in these targets. Maybe you kill it a little bit more quickly, but evade is the main takeaway from the U2 upgrade. The U3 upgrade gives you multi-shot and survival. Now, I've noticed a lot of people who have bought the U3 upgrade in the game and said that they basically noticed no difference on their hull or upgrade. And this is why. Because if you already have a fleet that has 5 ships in the fleet, one of which is the flag, and then 2 of each armor on your ship, you already have 32,000 survival on the hull. This will increase it to 38,000 survival. What this means is that you now take 25% of the incoming damage instead of 29% of the incoming damage. So, not that great, not that big of a difference. You don't last that much longer, and your repair time isn't that much lower. I'll give you an exact number on the last slide, like I said. The multi-shot actually is pretty beneficial because it will bring your damage per scattergun, just the raw damage, not counting the corrosive percentage increase, from 57,000 at U0, increases it to 68,000 at U3. Now, in terms of raw damage, this will get, in terms of damage you're actually dealing, this will be bigger in terms of numbers, but it's an increase of 20%, so you'll kill things 20% more quickly with this U3 upgrade as opposed to the U2 or U0 upgrades. Now, you're probably already 1 or 2 shotting most turrets in here, so you likely won't notice a very big difference here, and isn't going to be great in terms of actual repair time reduction in my opinion. But if you think something differently, let me know. Here's the X1 upgrade, and here's the big one. This one adds a drone and it adds survival. The survival is very meh because, again, it brings you from 38,000 to 51,000, and 51,000 survival sounds like a lot, but at that point, you're only taking 20% of the incoming damage with 51,000 survival versus 25% of the damage with 38,000 survival. So not a great difference, and I will talk about reduction in repair time on the next slide. Now, the drone is an entirely different mechanic, changes the way you can drive these targets, changes the cruise you use, and sort of breaks these targets, and it's a really, really good thing to have if you can. Now, the regular Zealots, when you upgrade them to X1, you get a drone with all of those. The Devout Zealot will make the current drones you have stronger. I'm planning on doing 2 ships of the regular version to X1, and then the flagship up to X1 to buff those, and then finally the last 2 regular Zealots in the fleet up to X1 if I have the time and tokens. So here's what all of this means for you. At U1, you get basically no change in damage dealt or your fleet performance. U2 means instead of a 60-minute repair time at U1, you will have a 45% minute repair time because of the increase in evade. Also, you will kill things slightly more quickly with the splash increase. At U3, if you had a 60-minute repair time with a U2 fleet, now you'll drop that down by a whopping 8 minutes to a 52-minute repair time. Also, you might kill things slightly more quickly with the multi-shot increase. So U3 really doesn't do a whole lot in terms of repair time that you drop. It's really not worth it in my opinion. X1 here means that instead of a 60-minute repair time with a U3 hull, you would have a 48-minute repair time with an X1 hull, and you have an entirely new mechanic of the drone, which is great. So overall, what does this mean for you? What are the really important upgrades? In my opinion, getting your ships up to U2 is really important. So I get your first ship and your flagship up to U2 before you do anything else. Then get the middle 3 ships up to U2 immediately. Don't bother getting them all to U1. Just get everything up to U2 when possible. Then you can either leave your whole fleet at U2 if you have something else to build, or otherwise bring a ship directly up to X1. And like I said, I'm going to do 2 regular Zealots to X1, then the flagship, then the last 2 regular Zealots up to X1. But overall, U3 doesn't do a whole lot. U1 basically does nothing. U2 is pretty important in terms of evade, and X1 is important in terms of adding the drone. So I hope this video helped. If it did, you can leave a comment, let me know, click the like button, that's great. If you have any questions or you disagree with something I said, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I will definitely look at that and respond. But as always, this is Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.